So we last we're discussing how Martin Luther sets in motion these for a challenge against not just political authority but religious authority or both. And this is also what we need to keep in mind. It becomes difficult. I mean, when we looked at King Henry VIII of England, to many this might have seemed like an obvious thing that the Church of England comes into existence strictly through politics. But, it's not always clear what the motives of various nobles were themselves when they were embracing a particular idea or not, or certain regions. Was it because they were drawn to ideologies, or because these ideologies gave them a pretext or the ability to break away from centralized power and to do their own thing? So what were the motivating factors? Well, that's something that you are going to explore in one of your assignments. So I want you to kind of just think about that again. I want to remind you to think about the topic of the Reformation and what's taking place. Is it political or just religious or a mixture of both? Or what do you think about that? In any case, Europe became divided through religion. If you look on this map here, this helps really illustrate. The yellow is Anglican or Church of England. It's coming from Henry VIII's breakoff, right? Calvinist or, where's my arrow? I'm always losing that thing. Okay. Here we see this, right? Scotland, we talked about Presbyterianism being brought into being, also known as Calvinism, or following the teachings of John Calvin. When we look at the purple, Eastern Orthodox, or we could say Eastern Roman Christianity. That's another way we could put it. Okay, and Russia, we're going to talk about Russia later, but the Russian church will also see itself as coming from the Roman Empire. And in the green, we see the countries that embrace Lutheranism, okay, are the ideas of Martin Luther. And then we have here what's left of all the various states that remained within the Roman Catholic Church. And so when you're looking at this map, the Holy Roman Empire, again, this is all divided, and Europe is now in the middle of bloody wars over what religion is true. So I kind of discussed with you how John Calvin in Switzerland, here was Geneva, where's that? Okay, there it is. See, where he was creating his own little enclave and kind of repressing anybody that conflicted with his ideas. Well, the Catholic Church felt the need to really fight off this splintering of the church. And again, I just want to keep pointing out, when you talk about this time period, just like when you talk about Islamic history or Christian history, it really it shocks our modern value system. So that where many people of faith now are embarrassed or feel like that just even mentioning this history is an attack on their faith. Well, it just so happens that my family has I have family that is Roman Catholic and Protestant, and we all seem to get along now. But unfortunately, our history doesn't, have that track record so well. And in some places like Ireland, these things still, on different levels, can come up. But in any case, there was violent reaction to what was taking place, and here are some of the things that happened. The Catholic Counter-Reformation, or the Inquisitions as they were infamously called. Now you have these councils, okay, like the Council of Trent, and these were, I'm not focusing so much on the sinister, but just on the actual doctrinal issues that were taking place. So the Catholic Church is going to be shaped for the next 400 years based on this clarification of what it means to be Roman Catholic. There's certain things that might have been assumed before, but because of the challenge of the Protestant Reformation, the Catholic Church wants to clarify certain things that are part of the church. That's the way it is. Don't question from us. This is what it means to be of the faith. So they affirmed indulgences, papal supremacy, priestly celibacy, meaning the priests don't marry or have sexual contact with anybody, at least in theory. Mass is to be held in Latin, not the vernacular or the language of the people at church, creating a kind of mystical experience, on your Sunday mornings. The church's power to forgive sins, such as doing the confession. These are things that are all being rejected by Protestants, okay? A majority of them. For many, like Martin Luther, salvation was simply by faith. And as we pointed out, Calvin saw salvation that you were basically just born saved or not. The church says salvation requires both faith and works. Divine revelations came from the Bible and church tradition equally. So again, this whole idea to say, well, there's no discussion in the Bible for celibacy of the priesthood, henceforth we shouldn't practice it. No, the church is saying that the church is equally inspired of God as the biblical text, and there's not a contradiction. There's merely a clarification or something of that nature, okay? But what ends up happening is, for those who don't agree with this, you end up having a very violent reaction. Now, already in 1492, I put down Columbus sailed the ocean blue and Spain kicked out every Muslim and every Jew. There was already in Spain the reconquest of a kind of attack on anyone who they felt that wasn't sincerely about their forced conversions to Christianity, and the others, they were just expelled. So there was a precedent set there already to do such hideous acts, and there was, like, this picture unfortunately depicts quite truthfully what would be happening to certain people if you were to rebel against the church. On the other hand, the Catholic Church didn't want to just enforce its doctrine through terror, but it also wanted to kind of revitalize the way that it educated its priesthood and its members of the faith. So you had like new Catholic orders, like the Jesuits, organized on military lines, that would have men that were very talented and disciplined and serve as missionaries, preachers, and political advisors. Okay? And actually, I'm going to go back. I'll stop there. So I'm simply pointing out that the Catholic Church was also being influenced and shaped by the way that different people were rebelling against the church. And again, this was going to also help catapult the violent conflict going on in the rest of Europe.